Well, ladies and gentlemen, so today we're going to be doing fifth lord in the third house. And what happens when the planet that controls your fifth house goes into the third house in your birth horoscope, or is sitting in the third house in your birth horoscope. And again, if you do not know where your fifth lord is placed and where all the planetary alignments are, including all the details of astrology, for that, check out the links here and check out your full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, and Aspects at the Speed of Light. And from there, you'll get all the details that you will ever need. So, fifth house. As I said, fifth house is a house of children, your kids, how you deal with children, education. It is a house of speculative business, like stock market, sports betting, entertainment. It's a house of your creative self-expression. How creatively can you express yourself to the world? Like as an actor, as a salesman, as a politician, anything. There are people, you don't have to be an actor. You can simply be this person who, lights up a party when you come. Like it's your inner character that comes out. And fifth house is also the house of your past life deeds. Benefics in the fifth house do very well. And if you have malefics, and if they're not exalted or sitting in their own sign, then it shows that you got some hard way to pave in order to get to your goal. But you will get to your goal. It's just the road is a little bit harder. So when that goes into the third house, what happens? Third house is a house of media. It's the actual real house of media, artistic talent, hobbies, skills. It's your communication, siblings, short distance travel. It's your willpower. It's your efforts, like you put effort into doing something. Because when you create something of creativity, when you create something of artistic finesse, you have to put your effort into it. That's what it is. And fifth house is actually the third from the third house, meaning it becomes the higher self of the third house. So if you count 3 places from the third, 1, 2, 3, fifth house is third from the third house. So there's a lot of connection to creativity. So when this happens, it really shows that your ability to educate yourself, your ability to, find love and passion in life will come through creativity. Because fifth house is also passion, it's also romance, and it's also, your creative self-expression in love. And so these people really find their passion in creativity. Painting, arts, most likely acting and filmmaking and directing and editing, because third house is working with your hands. And when you edit a film, you're working with your hands, whether on a computer or whether on those old style desks. Believe me, they still use those, especially in India. Especially when you're doing a 24 millimeter film, you still have to use those things, and you're using your hands to edit things creatively. So that's what it represents. It also represents that your education is always regarding the things that you're passionate about. Your education, what you learn, is the skills that you were born with. And you were gifted with immense amount of creative talent. Now, whether you can have a talent of fixing cars, sewing, designing, painting, sculpting, artistry, or writing, all of them are naturally gifted to these people. Whether third lord is in the fifth house or fifth lord is in the third house. And they could make great writers because there's just so much creativity. And especially if Mercury is involved here, make great writers. And because third house is a house of writing, because you use your hands to write. So, and also it shows that the way you're going to make your money in this life will always involve speculative business. Because of the fact, fifth house is a house of the things that you love. And no matter what work you do, you try to find something you love doing. And somehow you'll always end up in doing something that of speculativeness. Whether you're working in a stock market, whether you're working in the film industry, whether you're working in sports betting, gambling, sports, anything. And also athletes can be seen with this position because of the fact, even if you, let's say, do cricket, basketball, you're using your hands, you're using your effort to do something. You have the courage to do something. And fifth house represents fun and sports. So sports kind of becomes your skill. These guys are very skilled in, sports. Like me, you cannot beat me in shooting. If you were to take 20 shots of 3-pointers, No matter if it's Magic Johnson or Larry Bird. Well, maybe Larry Bird, no. But with 20 shots, I'll easily beat you. I'll just keep making them. Boom, boom, boom. I've shown you guys that before, so don't even compete with me on that side, okay? But yeah, you have a great competitive drive in sports as well. And your ability to just go forth with your skills really takes you to your higher self. Because of the fact these people have what it takes to be the best artist they can be, to be the best craftsman they can be. And they try to make that their career. Because fifth house is a house of trikona, your dharma, like what you should be doing. And when that goes into your effort, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, pretty much. But depending upon what planet is sitting as a fifth house lord, will differentiate this part. So let's discuss that. So when Sun goes into the third house as a fifth house lord, really shows your personality, your self-esteem, and your ego is all about communication. You love being in dramatic arts. You like to be in a very communicative field where your personality can either be a salesman, can be a great actor, can be a great, politician, because in the third house of communication, Sun kind of like illuminates your personality when you talk to people. It also shows that your siblings kind of were this creative drive for you. Although you may not have had too many young siblings because Sun kind of burns those significance a little bit, but shows that your siblings were really there to shape your personality and your creative side of life. And shows your dad himself might have been either a salesman, might have been working for post office, or might have been working in the media industry himself. Okay. If Moon controls the fifth house, goes into the third house, shows tremendous amount of talent regarding singing. Tremendous amount of, especially if Moon is in the nakshatra of Rohini, great actor, great emotional, dramatic person. And at the same time, your mind is all about how to communicate in a balanced manner with people. Now, you may not be an actor or anything, okay, although Moon is representing that, but Moon shows a very well-balanced mind regarding studies, regarding education, and especially regarding your creative self-expression. Like you're emotionally attached to your work. Your entire intelligence and your education is relied upon your mental capacity. Because of the fact you learn everything emotionally, because Moon is emotions. And shows your mom was a very crafty person herself. She must have been into sewing or designing or art or communication. Let's say if Mercury rules your fifth house and Mercury goes into the third house, really shows somebody who can be a great journalist, somebody who is very aggressive in terms of transporting information. Mercury becomes this natural writer, this natural salesman, this natural communicator. And at the same time, these people are quite aggressive in their approach of communication too. And even though, in certain situations, they might be more emotionally attracted towards communication, but it really shows somebody who will go to lengths to do communication, to do business. These people are very good at business, especially gambling. Mercury is a natural gambler. And in the third house, Mercury has the skills of gambling. Mercury has the skills of speculative business. And through their creative intelligence, they're able to make that money. But these guys make great writers, great sculptors, and and great designers, because Mercury is all about working with hands. Third house is all about working with hands. Fifth house is creativity. So their hands are just their vital part of their talent. Let's say Venus controls the fifth house, goes into the third house, shows that through women you find your creativity. Through women you find your self-expression. And you're a great artist, because Venus is a significator of art, painting, sculpting. And as an actor, you're very sensual. You love doing romantic roles, where other planets will love doing other roles, but Venus here loves doing romantic roles. Venus gives you this natural talent and flair for the acting world. And it also shows that in romance, you become very creative. You will go to lengths versus anybody else when it comes to romance, if Venus is the fifth house lord. If Mars is the fifth house lord, and Mars goes into the third house, shows that you can make a great athlete, shows that even if you go into acting, you will try to do very dramatic roles, like either of a villain or of a hero or some mob boss. It shows that you have a great talent of dealing with speculative business. You have this great, tremendous power to go in sports because Mars is willpower. Mars is a significator of the third house. And when it rules the fifth house, shows a very mechanical and very technical person. Meaning you can get an education in engineering. You can get an education in electronic engineering. You're very good at building things. Meaning like you can build robots. You may have a hobby of fixing things with your hands. And because Mars represents electronics, it really takes a person toward electronics. But if they go towards acting, they're going to want to do these dramatic roles. So, and let's say if Jupiter controls the fifth house, goes into the third house, shows tremendous love for classical art, classical music. Their education, it really comes from gaining the knowledge of art, because Jupiter is all about art and poetry. And these guys make very spiritual writers. And Jupiter, as a significator of finance, which is a significator of 2nd, 5th, 9th, and 11th house, shows somebody who makes a great businessman when it comes to speculative business. Shows a great businessman when it comes to textile, when it comes to, dealing with clothing, food industry. But at the same time, Jupiter from the third house also aspects the ninth house like every other planet. But Jupiter, since he's the significator of the ninth house, really shows somebody who can gain knowledge into banking or into like stock market industry. And Jupiter really brings this creative side to you where you just know exactly what to do. Like stock market becomes a fun for you. It becomes this game for you, like Mercury being there. Let's say if Saturn controls your fifth house, Saturn goes into the third house. From the third house, Saturn will aspect his own house. Shows a lot of protection towards the fifth house. Your education, although may be delayed, or if other planets are there, will be very mechanical. It may not be delayed, but it'll be very mechanical. And at the same time, you will do business of either writing, administrative business, or you may go into the business of anything, but eventually you will end up doing business. Because Saturn in the third house will always make a person do business, will always make a person make money through their own effort, because third house is effort. But however, with Saturn, if Saturn needs the support of Mercury and Venus to really be a great artist. See, Venus and Mercury cannot just alone become good artists. They need a support of Saturn, because Saturn is working like a machine, redundant work and going out there doing routine work, which really symbolically means that you're able to get up and do the same thing over and over to get to where you want to be. So these guys, whenever it's like there's a third and fifth connection with Saturn and Venus and Mercury, these people are really great with, creating something creative out of nothing. These guys are able to make gold out of nothing. However, with Saturn here, they may not get along with their siblings, younger siblings or older siblings for that matter. And the thing is, they feel this blockage in their creativity because of the fact they have so much responsibility of siblings. And this also shows that through your children you will find creativity, but at the same time, children will come a little bit late in your life. But they do come in life. But the thing is, with Saturn in the third house, it's a Pacha house. Saturn does very well. Mars and Saturn do very well here. They will give tremendous amount of willpower to do what you want to do, no matter what field you choose. So that's one of the benefic things about malefics being in the third house. Okay, so guys, this is my analysis of fifth lord in the third house. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And again, if you want to know where your planetary placements are and to look at all the details of astrology through my books, for that, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.